Hopefully my lips will match what I say today because we've recorded this video a few times and they have not. Let's see, shall we? Hi everyone, I am Robyn, the Copy Bitch. This is Stewie, my sidekick sloth, and today we have a new feature for you called Big Sloth Fails. You want to avoid big sloth fails because when it happens, you get the sloth paw. This is the sloth paw. Stewie tends to do that a lot during Patriots games, during some Zoom calls, when the camera's hopefully off. Actually, he's usually grumpier when he does it. Okay, but the real topic for today is lead nurturing fails. What is lead nurturing? Well, as a copywriter, you're probably going to be doing a lot of it. Think of all those emails that you write that are sent when someone takes an action on the site, then they become a lead, and then you want to nurture them down the sales funnel. We're using our marketing jargon, aren't we? Someone has to write those emails. You'll find them in both business-to-business companies, business-to-consumer companies. So if you've ever bought something like a product from a site, they want you to come back after making that sale. So they will continue to send you emails if you've opted in, and sometimes even if you haven't, even though you really should be giving permission. And they also happen with business-to-business sites as well. So you'll be writing these. Here's my beef. These can be great. They can be really effective, but here's the thing that I see happening a lot that causes the sloth paw that I'm going to be doing today, and I have 3 examples. If someone actually takes an action on these emails that you send, they should either be removed from that particular campaign and put into another one, or removed from the campaign altogether, because oftentimes you're sending these emails to prospects. They might not be customers. Sometimes you're sending them to people who've actually bought something and you're trying to get them to come back. So both can happen. But when you're sending them to prospects in particular, or you're sending out a cold email to someone you've never talked to before, and they actually respond, they should be removed from that campaign, or they should be put into a different campaign that actually acknowledges, hey, we've talked before, we've made a connection, so it doesn't sound like this weird disconnect. Here is example number 1. This guy from a video production company had been sending me emails, cold emails. And you know what? The subject line was kind of witty, so I'm always one to open an email just out of curiosity. It's an occupational hazard. It's what I do. It gives me ideas. I'm just curious to see how other people do things. So this guy who's like the owner of this company, and it's a legit company, sent me this email. I checked it out, and I think I even looked at his website that day. I didn't respond to the email because I was just busy, and I was just like, all right, whatever. It did its job though. I checked out the website. I saw that he was legit. He was on my radar, so good. And he continued to send me emails, maybe every week, every few days. It wasn't too intrusive, but it was doing its job. That's the thing. It was actually working. He was on my radar. I get the emails. They're always a little bit different. He was looking to make connections, maybe to have a referral to someone that I work with, clients, things like that. Like I said, not intrusive, totally fair. He's a videographer. I'm a copywriter. It actually made sense, right? Okay, so I finally responded to one of his emails. I actually responded to one of his emails, and it wasn't a no reply email address. It was going directly to him. Never got a response. Okay, things can go to spam, people get busy. I also connected with him on LinkedIn because I find that just having that connection on LinkedIn makes it a lot easier to then follow up with people, you remind people who you are because they can quickly look at your LinkedIn profile. He actually accepted, I sent a LinkedIn request and I put a personal note explaining who I was and how I've been getting his emails, and I checked him out and blah, blah, blah. He accepted the request, fine. Well, guess what? I still got those emails from him. I was still part of that lead nurturing campaign. He or someone in his, company did not do their job where I was removed from it now that we actually made the connection. So being the person that I am, I very politely sent him an email via LinkedIn saying, hey, so-and-so, just wanted to let you know I'm still kind of getting your, lead nurturing campaign, and wanted to let you know that you can, take me out because, we've actually been, connected here. And oh, by the way, I've actually referred you to a marketing firm that I do work with. So I actually said that because I actually had done that. I referred him. Nothing, no response at all. Like, talk about poor customer service, poor sales follow-up. Like, you took all this time to write these emails, to send these emails, to make these connections, and then nothing when someone responds. So that is just the absolute wrong way to do it. And for that, Mr. Video Guy, you get a sloth paw. So here's the big takeaway from that. Why am I telling you this? If you're a copywriter, you actually have influence over how the lead nurturing works. You won't be setting up, more than likely. Someone else will be doing that. Someone else will be on the back end setting it up in the marketing automation. Maybe it's your web guy or a digital marketing specialist. They'll be taking your copy. They'll be putting in the emails. They'll be setting it up. But you can help influence the logic, as we call it, in that marketing automation. So if you're writing an email, you could say, hey, if someone actually responds to this email or does what we're asking them to do in this email, then this should happen. They should be removed from this drip campaign, or maybe they should be added to a different one. You want it to be logical. And if you give the person this directive, they'll probably do the setup. They don't know because they're not the copywriter and they're not thinking about the messaging. They're probably just thinking about, I just have to set this up because that's my job. So keep that in mind when you're doing these sort of email nurturing campaigns, because you want to help your client avoid getting the sloth paw. Yes, you want to write great copy, and that's what you've been hired to do, but you can be so much more than that if you help with the strategy as well. So that's example number 1. Okay, example number 2, and what's funny is all of these things happen within a month, so that's why they're all front and center in my mind, and I want to rant about them today. So I'm working with someone, I'm actually a customer, and I'm just going to say it's financially related. I won't get into the nuts and bolts, but it's someone that I'm working with closely right now, nothing bad, it's all good. And I've been entered into his company's email nurturing campaigns, which is fine. And because I'm a copywriter, I can tell when it's a canned lead nurturing campaign. It just is what it is, and that's fine. But the problem is one of those actually did catch me off guard because I had talked to my contact, let's say on Monday, about something that I knew was due and that we had to update. And I thought it had been taken care of. And then 3 or 4 days later, I get this email saying, oh, this is about to expire. You need to do this. And it caught me off guard. And the good thing is what had to be done had been taken care of, but the email nurturing hadn't been updated. They just kept me in this email nurturing campaign because no one was thinking about the ramifications of, I'm actually talking to my contact, I've done what I'm supposed to do, but now you just kind of sent me into heart attack mode because I thought that I hadn't. So again, another sloth paw. Sometimes I feel in our little marketing world that people just do stuff because they read somewhere you should have lead nurturing, and then it's set up and we have lead nurturing and it's a box that's been checked off, and no one's thinking about okay, well, does this make sense for us? Or what happens when someone actually does what we want them to do? You really have to think through this stuff, and it's not hard. It does take some time on the back end to set things up, but once it's set up properly, it should work really well. Okay, anyway, that's example number 2. Now let's talk about example number 3. And this isn't so much email, but it's the same concept. So I had a routine doctor's appointment scheduled, and the medical secretary called me to say that they had to cancel it because they were short-staffed. Now, she left a voicemail and she said, we are short-staffed due to COVID. We are canceling this appointment. We will call you back to reschedule, which they still haven't done, but that's a different story. This was 2 weeks ago too. Okay, fine. It happens. That's totally fine. What's not fine is that 2 hours later, literally 2 hours later, I get a text saying, confirm your appointment for tomorrow. Don't forget, it's at 1:30. And it's did I hear the voicemail wrong, which I had already erased? Am I losing my mind? I mean, anything's possible. Again, left hand, meet the right hand. I can't really do it when I'm holding Stewie, but you get the idea. It's amazing how you can have all these grand marketing plans and emails and text mails and all this. if you're not auditing it or double checking to make sure things work, or to really looking through the complete workflow, or like what happens if this happens, and sometimes you have to think of those scenarios, things can fall apart very easily, and then you're getting a sloth paw. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Big Sloth Fails, and hopefully it won't be the last. Today we talked about what not to do with email lead nurturing, and how to really think through the logic, and how you as the copywriter can actually influence that. So keep those things in mind as you craft your copy. Once again, I am Robyn, the Copy Bitch. This is Stewie, my sidekick sloth and the master sloth bar. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, just move along, and we will see you next time.